Hello, I'm Bernard Keevy. Today I'm going to explain how making 4 small improvements can typically make a 60 to 70% plus increase in your bottom line. So the way it works, the first thing is I've looked at typical gross margins and net margins, which across a whole range of industries, if you research it, typically a gross margin is somewhere around about 35%, maybe a bit less, and typically a net margin is anything from about 12 to 20, 30%. So I've picked some typical figures. So looking at this, here we have our price times volume to give us our turnover or revenue. So if the price is 200 and the volume's 1,000 in a year, which our revenue will be 200,000. If we know our variable cost, which is if it's the sort of business that makes things or buys things in, then it's called cost of goods sold. But typically most businesses would have some element of variable cost, and variable costs are the costs that are dependent on the level of output. So if we know our variable costs are 140 here, then our gross margin would be 60, which is the difference between the 140 variable cost and the selling price of 200 divided by the selling price. So that will give us 30%. So our gross profit would be 30% of our revenue, and our revenue was 200,000. So our gross profit would be 60,000. If our overheads are 30,000, that's things like rent, rates, maybe salaries, wages and salaries, fixed costs that we have to pay whether we sell anything or not, then our net operating profits, are sometimes called net profit, sometimes called operating profit, sometimes called bottom line profit, is 30,000. So that's our starting point. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look to make 5% improvements. That's all, just 5% improvements in the 4 key areas: price, volume, the variable cost and our overheads. So if we increase our price by 5%, it's now 210. We increase our volume by 5%, it's 1,050. We reduce our variable costs by 5%, so they're now 133 on average. These are all average figures. And we reduce our overheads by 5%, so they're now 28,500. And if you work the numbers through, those 5% improvements, and I'm sure you agree if you focused on it, certainly the vast majority of businesses could find 5% improvements in those 4 key numbers, and probably a lot more in some of them. If you work the numbers through, you go from a bottom line profit of 30,000 to a bottom line profit of 52,350, which is a 75% increase. Now that's based on typical margins for typical businesses across a whole range of industry. Obviously every business is different, but you can see that 4 small improvements can make a huge improvement on the bottom line. The question then is, well, how do you go about making these 4 small improvements? Well, if you had a system, which we have, and if that system showed you, 20 plus strategies that would work for any of these areas, you only have to pick a handful. So for example, with price, if we knew how to bundle in extra value, and if we had different package options, so gold, silver, bronze, for example, and we knew how to do that with templates and tools, etc., to show us how to do it, we would easily get our average price up by 5%, even without putting up our headline price. And obviously we could do that as well, particularly if we can get our message across better, so we can stand out from the crowd, by bringing in what we call a market dominating position, which is an element that we provide that the others don't, or we explain it better than the others. There's a whole range of ways we can increase our average price, and we're only looking for 5%. Similarly for volume, well, cross-sells and upsells will immediately increase the amount we sell at the point of sale. If we've had a proper drip campaign, which is called strategic marketing, and a proper sales funnel, a sales process, so a marketing process and a sales process, we would easily find our 5% there. In terms of variable costs, typically there's up to something like 8 areas you can look at and analyse, and if you look at them closely and you check where you're spending your money, you'll frequently find these savings quite easily. And it's the same with our other overheads. The scope normally to make at least significant savings on overheads. Now, you may not get 5%. This might be the most difficult one, to be honest. You may not get 5% here all the time, but you would probably get a lot more than 5% in some of these areas, or you should do. So really, all I'm saying is 4 lots of 5% would make a huge difference to the bottom line. And that's why when we work with clients using our system, we guarantee them a 200% return on investment, because we know that we can find them these sort of increases to the bottom line simply by looking at those 4 key numbers and working on them. if you were interested in finding out more about how that works and whether it could work for you, have a look at a short video on coachforprofit.com/Bernard. It's only 8 minutes, and if you think it's useful and there's something in there that's worth discussing further, then just click on the link and book a time, and we could have a talk. So, just to summarise, 4 key numbers. All you need to do is make a small 5% improvement in each of them, and typically you'll add 60-70% plus to the bottom line. And that's why we can confidently say that we will guarantee a 200% return on investment to all of our business coaching clients. So if you're an accountant looking to add business coaching or advisory services, or a CPA, or you're a business coach looking to take your business to the next level, you know, you could offer this sort of guarantee using some of these strategies. And obviously if you offer that powerful a guarantee, it's going to be a lot easier to sign up clients than if you don't offer that sort of a guarantee. So Bernard Keevy showing how 4 small improvements can typically increase the bottom line by 60-70% plus, and therefore how you can confidently guarantee your clients a 200% return on business coaching and advice that you give them. Thank you very much for watching. I'm looking to recruit a business coach in order to help me handle existing global demand for business coaching services. And in particular, I'm looking for someone to run our Northeast US division. If you're interested in finding out more about this opportunity, which involves absolutely no financial risk or upfront investment, then go to coachforprofit.com/Bernard, watch a short 8-minute video, and if you think there's anything of interest there, then book a time and let's talk. And thank you very much for showing interest in this opportunity.